Hello and welcome to the Clout and Rude podcast post-match reaction sponsored by NordVPN. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by Matt Kendrick. And these are good, aren't they, at the moment, Matt? It's really enjoyable. 7 wins on the spin, 7 post-match reactions on the spin, talking about an Aston Villa victory. Doesn't feel like it in some ways because of the massive break between victories, 4 and 5 and 6, 7 and whatever else it is. But we're on a good run against that's in all competitions, by the way, for those unaware. 2 in the FA Cup, 2 in the Champions League, and 3 in the Premier League now on the spin. We're just finding our rhythm, aren't we? We're just about ticking along nicely. Despite a nervy end to the game, we're looking good.
Yeah, it has been spanned across quite a length of time. I'm old enough to remember when we beat Bruges away. That's how old I am. But today I think I tweeted or retweeted this earlier saying I felt a little bit nervous today. It felt like a big game. I think, looking at the table now on the back of it, right back in the mix there. You just leaned very close in then, Dan. I thought, can you not hear me?
My camera is way overexposed. I was just trying to fix it.
I thought you were leaning to kiss me then. I thought, this 7 wins on the spin's good, but let's just kind of let's not get too amorous. But yeah, it felt like a big win. It felt, I'm sure that other people felt it. The tension in that second half was palpable, but we found a way again. And I think we're properly in the mix in the Premier League again.
Yeah. I don't think this is a tangent about the language we use in football. The word palpable is only ever used with tension, isn't it? Whenever, I don't even know what the actual definition of it is, but you only ever hear the tension being palpable.
I don't know what else can be palpable, to be honest. I'm sure if I ever write a book, that'll be pulpable. But I'm not sure about palpable. I think it just means that it is... somebody Google it quick. Or palpable means that it's obvious, that you can feel it, that it's...
Yeah.
It's
palpable. A feeling or atmosphere so intense as to seem almost tangible. Yeah. That's probably right, isn't it? Yeah, correct.
Let's start using palpable. This challenge for me and you in our home lives this week. Let's try and get palpable into our conversations.
Yeah, hopefully the tension in our households aren't palpable.
Say again.
Hopefully the tensions in our respective households isn't palpable.
Yeah, just like the pleasure I got from eating your trifle last night was palpable or something like that.
Is that a euphemism or?
Anyway, where were we?
I don't know. Speaking of old, actually, I'll get one of my shout-outs in early. You said then about joking about being old enough to face Bruges. The guy that sits next to me, I think his name's Max, he said, the guy you do the podcast with, the bald fella, that already good. And I said, Matt, he's like, yeah. He's like, he always talks about being old. Like, tell him, for me, he's a whippersnapper. I think he's 60 or 60 odd. He said, if he can't remember Brian Little scoring at Old Trafford in 1977, he ain't old. So you might be older than me, as in me, but you're not old. So a nice compliment for you to start the show.
Well, Max, I can't remember what day of the week it is, so I am old. But thank you. That's made me feel like a youthful little cherub.
Oh, lovely. Comment from Taritsas, maybe. Come on, guys, talk about football. Come on, you must be new to the show. This is our peak content here. Let's talk about the football then. A big win, a statement victory, arguably you could say. I've titled this, and we had title gate after Brighton that me and Matt Lynch were calling it a smash and grab, which some people didn't like that definition, but our views look good, so give it another go. And this one's more to fire up the Forest fans, I think. Aston Villa's second string beats Forest in massive victory. 8 changes though. Now it's arguable: is it a second string? Is it a weaker team? Our squad is very good, and in that first half, it wasn't like. If you made 8 changes in 2013, you'd be in real trouble. Like, the quality would be totally different. The style of play would be totally different. The fact that we can play the same way and first half was probably, despite 6 wins previous to this, some of our best football that we've played in this run, and we've won lots of games up to this point. So it's by no means we rotate because we don't rate Forest and we think they're crap and we can beat you with anybody. It's just that we are flexing the muscles, I suppose, that we have now in terms of our squad. 8 changes was beyond my estimations in the preview that we did. I asked John, would there be any chance of Emery having an eye on PSG? And he felt no, he would focus on Forest purely. And I disagreed with that. Not to the extent of 8 changes. I thought there might be a couple, like give Watkins another bit of a rest and Rashford up front. That wasn't one of the 8. Watkins came. It was one of the 8. Watkins came back in, but I thought maybe a couple like Mings or Torres or maybe Dean for Maatsen potentially. But I never suspected 8. Obviously, it's very easy to maybe tailor your answer here, knowing what we know now. When that team came out, God knows whatever time it was, were you worried? Were you okay with it? How did you feel?
Oh, there's a lot to unpack there. Did you hear my door creaking, by the way? It's like a haunted house in here. I need to get a bit of WD-40 on the hinges. First things first, I'm not happy about you clickbaiting our loyal viewers, by the way, with your...
It's true, though, no? Aston Villa's second string beat Forest.
Well, the second thing I wanted to mention was second string. Where's that derived from? Is that like a violinist or a guitar player's thing?
Not sure.
Like having
First
a spare
string, second string. Possibly. Maybe like a bow and arrow. Like an archer's second string to back up their main bow string, maybe. I'm going to Google it.
Anybody answers on a postcard, please? I was a little bit not surprised with the starting lineup, because Emery never really surprises you. But I don't know. He's a shrewd man, isn't he? I think that to have a coach who's capable of thinking about this match and the next match at the same time. You know, who says men can't multitask? But I thought we need. You know, I'm jumping ahead now. We needed the bench.
Yeah.
When the going got tough, but what a bench to call upon. To be honest, said to you before we came on air that I think that's the strongest bench. You know, unless somebody can find one from way back in the history books, I think that's the strongest bench. In fact, I don't think Forest will have seen a stronger bench than that since Tom Hanks got on the buzz.
God, oh God.
I really swore then. I really swore at my own badly contrived jokes. What were you asking me? The starting lineup?
Yeah, but forget that. I'm almost swearing at the fact that the second string etymology traces the expression to medieval times when an archer carried a second string for his bow in case the first string broke. Would you believe it? I actually got something right. And talking of, my prediction from the other night, I won't reveal the rest of it because I've got my notes on there. 2-1. Call that as bang on as well. So, you know, don't say you don't get anything from here.
Never mind the archer, mate. I didn't know you've got this many strings to your bow, to be honest. You know, clairvoyant, etymology. Is that a word? Is that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, go on.
The 11 is, like I said, not what I expected. We spoke a little bit around maybe Cashel Garcia. It was Disasi at centre back and Garcia at right back. I mean, it was a totally different back four, wasn't it? That played against Brighton. So obviously Mings comes back in as well. That's not something that you see very often. And I was messaging John pre-game, and we were both having a bit of a back and forth. And I won't read it out because we both are massively stupid now. But it was like, we're taking a massive risk here, and ultimately it's paid off. We've won the game and rotated some first string to play against PSG. But you've seen this backfire before. We've seen it this season. You make changes for one game with the upcoming game in mind, and you lose both. We could have lost today and still been beaten by PSG with our first string. So it's a massive risk to make that many changes. When it comes off, perfect. Like it's a masterstroke from memory, isn't it? He's got some minutes into his legs of his support cast effectively for Tuesday. That if Onana has to come on at half time, well, he's paid some minutes to be ready for that. Same with the Maatsen or I was going to say Garcia and Marlon, but obviously they're not in the Champions League squad. But you get what I'm saying. They've now been prepared for that. And the ones that have been left out, yes, Konsa and Kamara have had to come on to the game as Rashford as well to help us see today out. But they're fresher for Tuesday as well. So it's impressive. I think it's a big risk from Emery that now it's not a talking point. I mean, it is primarily for this very quickly. But if we'd have lost today, we'd been talking about this up until PSG and potentially beyond, that we've made lots of changes and it's blown up in our face. Like this was a big game that we had to win. And fortunately for Villa, they have, and they've been able to see the job through by making those changes. And yeah, fair play to Emery. He's took a risk and it's paid off.
Has the word string ever been used so much in a broadcast outside Art Attack or something? Never heard you use the word string so much.
Got to justify the title somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Stringing along our loyal viewers. I don't know, mate. I'm just. What was the question in there?
I don't know, not really. Just I'm impressed that Emery took a risk and it paid off because it could have gone completely the other way. Forest are a good side. Like making that many changes looks like you're underestimating them. Or that if we'd have done this against Southampton, which we probably will do, to be honest, the game in between the two PSG games, you'd say, well, their bottom, our second string could beat Southampton quite comfortably. To do it against Forest is, ballsy.
I think it's a show of faith now that I don't think he sees a first 11 necessarily, and I'm sure he doesn't think that the second 11 are exactly as good like for like as the first 11. But I think he trusts all of his players now. And you mentioned earlier about changing the complete back four. That's on the back of a rare clean sheet.
Yeah.
So to have the confidence to do that, and he must have been like the cat that got the cream. He must have been smug as anything after 15 minutes or 16 minutes when we're absolutely dismantling the team that are third in the Premier League and third by rights. Because we absolutely, some of the football that we played, you're right. And if that is a team that can make 8 changes and still create goals of that quality, it was almost going too well, wasn't it? And you wanted that third goal, and then it was like, well, actually, Forest, they're stung by that, but they're not going to be stung by that forever. So they're going to take any encouragement that you give them, and that was the case, wasn't it? But I'm probably getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, we'll talk about the goals in a sec. A couple of comments. Jay says Emery was fuming in the second half. He wasn't happy. Kevin says, shows how far we've come. That wasn't a reserve side, but 8 changes and still won. Wow. Raphael says, even if our first 11 started, we would still have struggled the same at 2-0 up. It's interesting, isn't it? Because as Seeking says, the way Forest plays, it does clash with Villa. That's a side that we struggle to play against. They want to have little of the ball and counter-attack with pace, defend their box well, be hard to beat. They've won lots of games 1-0. They've gone ahead in games and just held on to it, and that's why they're third. And rightly so. I'll take nothing away from them. Their style of play with Nuno is working for them. It's worked for him before when he got Wolves into Europe. Absolutely fine, you do you. And I think they will finish in the Champions League places. Hopefully not at the expense of Villa, obviously. If we're both in it, brilliant. But it's something that we've struggled with to break those teams down. So to come out so quickly and play so well in the first probably 20 minutes maybe, that you didn't see Martinez touch the ball apart from us passing it back to him. It was, he didn't have to pick up the ball for a goal kick. There was no threat at all from Forest and Villa to start the game so brightly, and kind of works 2 ways, doesn't it? I'm not expecting us to play like that for 90 minutes because A, you probably don't really need to, and B, I don't think you probably can. And Forest also, if it was just Villa playing against themselves, you do what you want, but Forest are going to be better in the second half. But to play like that and limit Forest of anything, that the first goal is so important. If they get it, their game plan is that's what they want. They want to go ahead. They want to sit back, and that's that. And we would have seriously struggled, I think, if Forest had gone ahead. But for Villa even to just go 1-0, great. To go 2 is so quickly kind of, I don't want to say kills the game because the second half was nervy and they absolutely had plenty of chances to score at least 2 goals. So this wasn't kind of the perfect game plan that we scored 2 and that was enough and there was never any danger. There was plenty of danger in the second half, if not for their wayward attempts. But it gives you that foundation and to help boost the atmosphere. Okay, 2-0, relatively comfortable here. First 20 minutes, we bossed it. We know that if we play well for the remaining 60, 70 minutes, we should win this game because it's unlikely Forest score 3. And obviously that's what fortunately played out in the end.
Yeah, I think they're a good side. I do. I think they've got a bit of everything. I think the referee probably allowed them to be, maybe it's me being a little bit soft and a little bit biased towards Villa. I think that the referee allowed them to be too physical at times. I think that in the centre of the park, who's it? Yates and Elliot Anderson. There's a lot that I'd like to see the foul count. There were a lot of fouls given that weren't bookings. There were a lot of robust challenges that weren't given as fouls. So I do think that helped that helped Forest get their towels back up again at a time where Villa really needed to try and exert some control, but they couldn't because Forest were. I'm not taking anything away from Forest because, like I said, I think they've got they're really physical. They've got big centre halves who can defend. Watkins was getting nothing out of him today. I thought Watkins was pretty anonymous, to be honest.
Agreed.
But Gibbs White's a hell of a player, and Alanga, and even that little rat. Even that horrible little whatever we call him, Jack Grealish. If you order him from Wish or whatever the common description is, I thought he was horrible. But they've got good players. They've got really good players
for a reason. Yeah.
And I thought, we were 2-0 up, but I think Matson's given the ball away on the edge of their box. And then that's the one where Alanga's run off the length of the pitch, weaved in and out of a couple of players and nearly scored. I think Rodgers has got caught in possession, inside our own half, and then Hudson-Odoi just flashed up. I've never seen, like my nephew was saying on the way back, on Match of the Day when they show the highlights before the highlights, just at the start of the game, and there's just a couple of, shots flashing past the post. Yeah. There's about 12 of those from Forest today that just flashed past the post. And on another day, we could have been absolutely battered.
At the bar, didn't they, at the end?
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of not even half chances for us, like seriously good bits of play, and maybe some of that is bad defending for Villa, however you want to describe it. Getting a couple of more shots on target and Villa in big trouble. Just looking through the stats very quickly, it was 19 shots for Forest to Villa's 17, 8 on target for us, 3 for them, and 16 shots not on target. Pretty telling. And fouls, 15 to Forest, 7 for us. So that kind of marries up with what the eye test was, that there were a lot of fouls. I thought it was a really interesting game, though, in the way that Villa were able to kind of manage those two situations. That we created chances ourselves, plenty of them, scored our goals, took them very, very well, played well in most parts, controlled the game in the usual kind of Emery style that we've seen many, many times. And then in the second half, having to be dragged in a little bit to Forest's battle and physicality, and it would have been easy, I think, to crumble under that a little bit. Their fans got back into it after being pretty quiet all the way through, which, again, to be honest, pretty expected after the quick fire goals in the 15th, 13th minute, whatever. There's just a little bit of, like, you can feel the momentum shifting a little bit. They get their goal. Okay, Villa might be in trouble here because Forest are piling on the pressure. McGinn coming on, I kind of felt like this is his game now to ruffle a few feathers, win us a couple of fouls, break up the play a little bit. To be kind of dragged into what Forest wanted, could have seen Villa crumble in the entire second half, but I thought Rodgers was good for that as well. The physical battle, stepping up, this mature presence of not just a silky ball carrier, but like, now I'm going to fight and work hard. I think that is pretty impressive as well, that Villa are able to show two sides of their game. Yeah, we can be pretty and play nice football and control the game, but if you want to scrap, we'll fight you.
Yeah, I mean, should we go back to the goals first of all, though, because we've not discussed those, and like I say, the football that we played. I mean, the ball from Tielemans, and we'll go through our star players, I'm sure, in a minute. But the ball from Tielemans was sublime, and the way that Rodgers has taken that and finished it was just so good, just first class. And then the second one, I think Tielemans was involved again, and I think it was Ryan Yates who Matson's just turned inside out. He must still be untangling his legs now, and that ball, I thought Marlon, I know it was a tap-in of sorts, but I thought he did well to control it, because the way it was bouncing up, you've seen people sky those before. And I thought the quality of the goals was sublime, and I probably got carried away. I did think we probably would score a third before half-time, and then, even though, Forest are good and are spirited and have got ability and character, I thought that would have been enough, that third goal, but it never came. And then I thought those couple of little moments where just untidiness, and all of a sudden it gives them that encouragement. And even before half time, they had a couple of efforts that flashed past the post. And then I just thought start of the second half, obviously we've made the change and he's brought Konza on for Garcia and put Disasi over at fullback. I just thought we'd become so panicked. I thought we just lost any sense of composure. Martinez must have been told to go long more often than not, which I wasn't massively convinced about. I still thought, I know Forest press quickly, and they've got some pace about them, but I still thought we needed in that first 10 minutes of the second half to try and get our foot on the ball and try and play a little bit. Even if you're only playing a couple of 2 or 3 passes and you're still going long from Martinez, I just thought that, Watkins wasn't... I don't think he played well himself, but I don't think he was allowed the chance to play well because I think it's a bit of a battle when you're going up against, defenders that size. I thought it played into their hands a little bit because we just didn't get our foot on the ball.
Yeah, because they're more often than not are going to win the aerial battle against Watkins, I felt, during the game. I really rate his hold-up play generally, but I thought he was pretty poor, to be honest. And whether that's that he's not been very good or Forest have done a number on him is, you make your own opinions. Rodgers as an outlet, I think, was better for Martinez to go to because he's got the physicality to, if he doesn't win it, he'll at least kind of make himself known to the defender and, like, you're not going to have this easy. But again, there's absolutely nothing to back this up. It's just off my brain now, but it felt like during that second half we'd have the ball for like 10 seconds and then lose it by our own. We'll just go one pass too many, and there's just no kind of sustained pressure from Villa at any point. It felt like that as Forest were growing back into it, we're almost allowing them to, because it's like a hot potato. We just want to get rid of it. We want to clear the danger as quick as we can, which, there are merits to that. How often have we said about, just deal with the danger, get rid of it if you need to, that's fine. But it's coming back to us so quickly that they're having chances and this is going to be difficult for us. So it just felt like we just needed, I don't know, it was almost like you needed a bit of the dark arts to just somebody go down for a minute and get a bit of treatment or something just to kill some kind of momentum, because we're getting drawn into what Forest want here and we are looking panicky. You're right, that's a good word to describe it.
But it was those times where, and again, Forest fans are probably beg to differ, but where you expect a little bit more from the referee. So there's a couple of times where Martinez has opted to go to hit Rodgers rather than Watkins. Rodgers has been sandwiched a couple of times, and then you get Asensio who's trying to put his foot on the ball on the halfway line, and then Silva comes and takes him out after the ball's gone, and it's not even a yellow card for that. And there was those little things that Villa knew they weren't going to get these things. It became a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, got a little bit more panicked. I just thought that I don't think that we coped very well during that period. And people were saying in the comments earlier about Emery going mad. I don't know whether you saw it when we were trying to make those 3 subs, but he was absolutely, raging at Kamara for not tying his boots fast enough.
Do you think it was that?
It was getting ready to go on, and there was a couple of times where there was a breaking play, whether we got a goal kick or a throw-in or a free kick or something, and they still weren't ready. And Emery could sense the nervousness of his team, he could sense the nervousness of the crowd, and he was absolutely berating Kamara. So I wouldn't be surprised if, Emery's put a order for a job lot of Velcro football boots next if you can't tie your laces fast enough.
So you know what I thought that was, and this is obviously totally like guesswork from both of us. It could be either. I thought it was a little bit like, do you remember the clip that was it last year? It might have been the year before, when he turns around on the bench and has a go at Luca Dean for something else that one of the on-pitch players had done. Almost like the reasoning was, well, when you get on, don't do that. Basically, I wondered whether
almost like a pre-bollocking.
Yeah, kind of like, look what. Who did Kamara come on for? Would it have been Onana? I don't know.
It was a bit, yeah.
Just like, Onana's just done that. Like, when you get on, do you know what I mean? I thought it might have been that. Like, I'm getting you on because I'm seeing this. Don't do this when you come on. It could be either or, I suppose.
That's quite harsh if you're getting the telling off of the person that you're replacing, isn't it? But yeah, I thought it was part of just get ready quicker. And I think they're going to have kind of shoelace tying classes. And actually, on a similar theme, did you see their, I can't remember which defender it was, who did a foul throw on the far side? In kids' football, the referee takes that back and teaches them how to do it, feet on the floor,
really?
hand behind your head. I thought they should have done that. The referee should have said, okay, Listen, this is how you do it. I know you're new to football. You're only playing in the Premier League.
You see them quite a lot these days, not given. It's quite common, I think. You see a lot of foul throws not actually given.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were going to reply.
You do.
Should we do our man of the match choices?
Yeah, go on.
It's everybody's favourite section. It's time for the Man of the Match award, and we're going to pick our top 3 in order. And if there wasn't 3 good players, it's a bit of tough isn't it? Ooh, okay. Man of the match then. What do you think? What are your options? Talk to me.
That ooh then was like a kind of like an old man getting up from an armchair or getting into an armchair.
Make all kinds of noises, yeah.
Can I give you 3 and in no particular order?
Yes, for now, yeah.
All right, okay. I would go with Morgan Rogers, Ian Martson, and Yuri Tielemans, I think would be my 3.
Okay. Very on brand with the rest of the comments. BB says, if Matson is not in your top 3, you're wrong. He is in our top 3, so we are right. Literally 1982 says Marlon. Seeking says Rogers. Gareth says Matson. Josh says Rogers, Yuri, and Matson. Ding, ding, ding for all 3 for you, Josh, for Matt's opinions anyway. Matson and Nana from RN Jesus is a shout. I don't know whether he'd get into my top 3, but just maybe an honourable mention for Anana. I thought he did play well, and that we've had so much criticism for him, I suppose, of, is it a waste of money and he's never fit and all these kind of things. He's come in today against a difficult physical side and been told, basically, you're Kamara for today, you're his replacement, we want you to do that job. And I thought he did it. I thought he did it well. I thought he played well in the first half in particular. Maybe struggled a little bit into the second, and obviously comes off. So, man of the match for an hour, maybe. Who knows? Are we allowed to do that? I mean, yes, we could do what we want. We've given man of the match to Asensio for like a 15-minute cameo, haven't we? Just because he scored. So, I don't know whether Onana gets into my top 3, but he's in with a shout. What did you make of him? Am I talking crap here?
I thought it was good. He wouldn't oust any of those 3 that I've just said. But I thought he was good. I thought there were times where, he'd step forward a little bit as well, and he'd try and get into his stride. And I thought he was a good link man. I thought he's one of those ones, isn't it, where at the start of the season he was the main man, scored a couple of times. We were kind of laughing at Everton fans mocking him because we thought we got the real deal. I don't think he gets into your starting midfield now very often. I know he did today, but I don't think he's a bad option to have. And I wonder if part of the reason that he started today, obviously we wanted to protect McGinn and we wanted to protect Kamara. But I think it probably was because of his physical presence as well against Forest. So yeah, I'd probably stick him as an honourable 4th in that case.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy with the combination that you picked, to be honest. I thought Mings was good as well, as Jay's just said there. Josh says Roger was good second half out of a bad bunch. I don't know whether I'd say there's a bad bunch in the second half, but we obviously struggled more in the second than we did the first. But I thought Rogers did step up in that physical kind of side of it, as I talked about before. It's just feels like we're ticking along quite nicely, as we've said a couple of times, about hitting form at the right time and all those kind of things, and kind of managing the situation that we're in with juggling the 3 different competitions. We've got 19, 20 players that are actually fit now and could genuinely start for this team in different competitions that we're in. So it feels like a pretty good time that we're not dealing with, we've got 5 or 6 injuries and we're really struggling for fatigue. We've got something to chase for. We know what our goals are. We've got the squad to do it. If we just keep churning out results and playing to our best, we will beat a lot of sides. Seeking says the Southampton lineup will be interesting. I think you'll see something similar that we saw today. I don't want to kind of look too far ahead here, but having PSG don't play between the 2 legs because of Liga and giving them the week off basically to go and focus on Europe. Villa aren't going to get that luxury, but our game between those 2 legs is Southampton away, one of the kind of fixtures, one of the worst teams the Premier League's probably ever seen. Villa could make probably 10 changes for that game and still beat them if they play to a reasonable standard. So you might see a Nana start against Southampton. Marlon will 100% play, I would have thought. Watkins or Rashford will play up front. I'm not going to go through all the team, but you know what I mean? I think you'll see plenty of changes for that as well, and you'll play your 2 strongest teams in both PSG games now.
Listen, if he's prepared to be that brave in terms of changing his team around to play Forest, then he's definitely going to rest plenty of players for Southampton. Again, yes, Southampton haven't quite. Are they still in danger of beating Derby's record for being the worst ever? And listen, we feel your pain because we we had a good go at trying to beat that record ourselves in 2016. But I still don't think you underestimate, Southampton. They're still capable of I don't know.
Are they?
they're still capable of getting a result against us. So I think we've been on a fantastic run. Hopefully that continues on Wednesday night. But I still think next weekend is still a massive. Having had this week that we've had in terms of getting through to the FA Cup semi-final, and then fantastic victory away at Brighton, and then beating one of the kind of clubs currently occupying a Champions League place with our second string side. Don't undo that now.
Yeah. I said in the preview, this is in that stupid hypothetical that you can only win one. I'd rather beat a Newcastle or a Man City or a Forest than beat Southampton because you're taking points directly off a rival. Yeah. If we have to lose somewhere, you would lose to Southampton. It doesn't really mean anything. But in the realistic terms of football, the optics of losing to Southampton are terrible. We're on a winning run of 7 games at the moment. Regardless of what happens with PSG, you come back to the league, you're playing the team at the bottom. They've conceded a boatload of goals, home or away, whatever side it is. Villa kind of have to win to keep up the momentum. Other teams around us have got pretty favourable games. I think Newcastle play Leicester on their weekend game. I think they play Monday night. So you expect them to go and win, but we won't do too much bigger picture stuff now because we're doing the Q&A on Monday. So we don't want to go over the same ground twice, but it looks a lot more healthy now in terms of breaking away a little bit from the pack behind us. We're 4 points clear of Brighton, 6 clear of Bournemouth and Fulham, which is a pretty healthy position for us to be cemented ourselves a little bit in the top 7. A win at Southampton again and results go our way elsewhere would hopefully sort that out as well. We're a point ahead of Newcastle, but they've got 2 games on us at the moment. We're level on points with Man City, having played 1 more, and a point behind Chelsea in 4th, again, a game more. And only 6 points behind Forest. This super Forest team that are 3rd, 6 points behind them. God forbid we switch 1 result this season and we beat Forest away. We'd be level on points with them now. Like, we're as good as they've been and as rocky as we've been at times. We're 1 result away that takes 3 off them and add it to us, we'd be level. So we all know football doesn't work like that. But the bigger picture is Villa are just going under the radar a little bit, notching up wins, keeping themselves in the conversation, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, those games, I'm just looking down our fixture list now. Home to Newcastle, it's going to be a massive game.
Yeah.
Away at Man City, that's going to be a massive game. And how close to Bournemouth still in the mix at the moment, or not? Have they?
They're about six points behind now at the moment.
Yeah, so that's Bournemouth away. So still got. I don't know. We're in magnificent form at the moment, but there's still some really big challenges for us to come. I just back on the game, talking about Rodgers being so physical and able to look after himself. I did love that moment where he's kind of almost like made a back for Murillo, and Murillo's gone flying over him. It was the one where Rodgers has gone through on goal and probably should have, if you Marcus Rashford, probably should have squared for Rashford, but looked like he'd done enough. But then Sells has just got it as he's gone to squeeze through his legs. But I just love that that Rodgers backed himself in that challenge against a kind of, a real kind of monster of a defender like that. And then Murillo's just kind of, you see him hobbling around then. He's like me getting out of bed in the morning. He was like a kind of broken old man. And I thought, that's pretty good from Rodgers that he backs himself in those.
Yeah, because they're good defenders as well.
Yeah.
He's done really well, Rodgers. I think we didn't actually pick an order for man of the match, but he'd be my number 1, I think.
Yeah, well, I think he'd be him, then Maatsen, then Tielemans. But and the other chance as well, when McGinn's come on and clipped a lovely little ball for Rashford. And I'm so desperate for Rashford to score that one in front of the whole 10. But Sells has got up quick to recover there. Rashford's no slouch. So how he's managed to beat that ball away, and that would have just kind of settled our nerves a little bit.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
it was one of those ones where I think it was destined to be like a kind of frantic, kind of stressful finish.
It had a sense of occasion to it at the end of the game. I don't know if you agree. Like this means something. The kind of celebration at the end, the kind of big sigh of relief of everyone on their feet waiting for the rest final whistle. It kind of reminds you of those games at the back end of previous seasons where it's like, I know we're not at that stage yet where winning today has put us into the Champions League or to the Conference League or to a cup final or whatever, but it had that almost that feeling light, like this means something, this win against Forest. It's not just another victory. It's like we've beaten a rival, we've held on. We've not held on in the sense of we've nicked a late goal and just kind of scrapped and held on to that. We've been under the cosh for most of the second half against the team that's third. It just had that. Oh, that was a good, solid win, and we all know it. We all know how important that was.
Yeah, like I say, I think I started the day thinking it was a big match, and then there's obviously
Newcastle will be the same. By the way, you'd have exactly the same feeling if we're holding on at the end. If we got over the line, that's a massive kind of statement.
Well, I think what will make this similar to Newcastle as well. Yes, you're playing against a rival in there, but the Forest thing as well. I think there was almost like a revenge mission for the way the previous game, the controversy that went against us. And I think Darmian tweeted about it, didn't he? I think the other day saying, let's hope we're talking about the football. So I think there's a bit of needle because that, they're not a kind of derby rival in the sense that Birmingham City or West Brom or whatever are, but it's still an all Midlands. We want to be pride of the Midlands. We're the ones who are flying the flag for the Midlands. We don't want Forest to come and oust us there. So I think there was that edge there as well. And I think that'll probably be the same with Newcastle because I know we've played a lot of football and the world's changed a lot since Duran's sending off up there. But they beat us at St James's every time. Let's make sure we're beating them at Villa pretty much every time. But I think the Forest fans as well was it was interesting because they were like singing like football in a library and blah 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 and 2-0 and you still don't sing. We'd been singing non-stop for about 10 minutes before they started singing that. So I'm like, just kind of get back in your box.
I quite liked and almost didn't like that there was this like joint singing of the Wembley songs and the Champions League ones that like they started singing the Bayern Munich Lazio Roma one. It's like, hold on a minute, like I think you probably will get there, but you're not yet. Like we are actually in it and doing well. So hold on just a second. And then the case as well, everyone joins into like it's kind of nice in a way, but also like I don't know, that's very unusual, isn't it, for both sides to kind of be singing those kind of songs. But yeah, again, this is nothing to kind of. I mean, if they're still watching the Forest fans that have been baited in by this title, this isn't like a disrespect of what they've done. I actually really rate Forest, but yeah, just a weird sense of atmosphere with those kind of joint chants.
Yeah, I know we've spoken about him already, but that referee annoys me, and I'm a big advocate for bald men of a certain age. As you know, Baps was it Baps that we called it, bald and proud? But I don't know why he reminds me, that ref, especially where he's wearing bright orange. Remember Hank from Breaking Bad? He's got a bit of a look from Hank, but dressed up in a kind of American kind of prison orange jumpsuit when he's wearing that. So, I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't have noticed his sartorial kind of elegance or lack of it if he hadn't have been so crap against our team. But it just really annoys me. We've had him before, and he's just, I don't know.
Yeah, whenever we're looking at the team, my dad will always say, like, oh, who's the ref? I was just thinking, does it matter? They're all crap, aren't they? I don't care who it is. None of them are any different than the others, generally.
Yeah, well, I didn't like him today anyway, so no. I did boo him. And Arna was down the hole and giving it the big, the big fist pump or the big treble fist pump. So everybody's attention was on him down that end, but I'm like right by the tunnel, so I was just on my own, just booing, the referee. So whether he heard me, I don't know, but he gets rid of some of the tension, doesn't he? It's better to boo a referee. Referees probably wouldn't think this, but it's better to boo a referee than it is to kick a cat or whatever, innit? Or you know what I mean? Definitely. I think so. I mean, let us know in the comments.
Cat Zoomer, if you're watching. Have you got anything else you want to discuss, or can I do some shout outs?
Just the PSG thing, really. So they've gone, and I know we're doing a Q&A on Monday, but they've gone and won the league tonight, haven't they? With, I don't know.
I've not seen anything.
6 games to spare. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what will they be drinking. Kronenberg. Just trying to think of French lagers. Let's hope they hit the Kronenberg and baguettes a bit too hard tonight. Other stereotypes are
Season at the
available.
moment.
Say it again.
It's an invincible season for them at the moment in the league.
But they've not met the mighty Villa yet, have they? That's why they've had to kind of get the French authorities to do them a few favours, because they know they're in for the biggest test. I'm not going to start baiting the PSG fans in this.
No, let's do that. Let's do that later in the week. We'll talk a bit more about PSG on Monday. Let's leave that for now, just because it's you and me again. If me and John were doing the Q&A, I'd let you go, but we'll do that Monday. Just a couple of shout outs from me then. I've got quite a few actually. I had one tweeted to me that I sent to you, so I didn't forget, from Zach, who said, "Always a great listen, gents. My friend Mike's 40th birthday is April the 12th, so this time next week. We came all the way from Illinois in the US for Villa v Forest. Please give Mike a shout out post game." Mike, thank you for tuning in, and Zach, happy birthday for next week. I also got tapped on the shoulder a handful of times pre and post game. Hina collared me in the Lower Trinity to have a quick chat about today and discussing the lineup pre game and how big of a risk it was. But in the end, we got there, so happy days. I also got tapped on the shoulder on the way out by Higgy, who said that he loves the podcast, listens every week, and he used to sit near me, but doesn't any longer. He's like, "You used to come with your dad and your granddad?" I was like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, love the podcast." I had to write them in my phone and sent them to you. So he was like, "If you remember," and I was like, "Man, I'll literally write it down now because I will forget." And as I was walking out, there was a couple of lads. Somebody shouted at me and said something like, "Oh, Dan, he's your biggest fan here." And I thought a little bit. I was a bit like, "Oh, this is a wind up, like someone's trying to get at me." And this guy called Tom come over. He's like, "No, I love the podcast. I genuinely listen every week. Can I have a shout out?" And I said, "Yes, I will write it down now because I will forget." And he's like, "I will be listening." So Tom, thank you for tuning in as well. And thanks to everyone who came up to me. It's always nice, isn't it, when people enjoy what we're doing? So yeah, shout out to those guys. I expect you've got some as well because you normally do.
Do you physically write them down then? Do you take a pen and pad just for your
I've sent it. I don't, because I texted them to you. I just texted you like, "Tom, shout out," because I will forget. I'll forget their name.
All right, well, I got one. I met lovely Lloyd from London Lions. Bit of alliteration for you there, Lloyd.
Bit of a tongue twister.
So Lloyd from
Say
London
that 3
Lions.
times.
Yeah. Red Lloyd, yellow Lloyd, red Lloyd, yellow Lloyd, red Lloyd, yellow Lloyd. Yeah, that's good. So Lloyd, he's from London Lions, and he's a friend of the show, Frankie Maguire.
Okay,
and what Lloyd does, he's a season ticket holder, travels up from London every week to meet his dad, Stuart, who's also a big fan of the show, who travels from North Norfolk. Now, the only time I've ever heard North Norfolk is North Norfolk Matters with Alan Partridge. So, so I'm sure nothing but North Norfolk does matter now because one of our viewers, Stuart's there. So, so Lloyd was sound. He's saying he enjoyed the interview with Darren Fletcher as well the other day. So we've had a lot of love for that. So I hope other people enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you haven't listened to that yet, just because it came out before Forest, like it's still in date. A lot of the chat was Champions League and PSG focus. So if you haven't got round to it, you've still got time to catch up for that before Wednesday. A couple of comments very quickly. Yes, lad says, was also a bit confused at the start of the game. I saw fireworks. I thought Liverpool were in town. I was going to make a similar joke about, I thought we were playing the Reds. It's Forest, not Liverpool. And Phil Johnson says, this is to end the show. I know it's all superstition, but in 2019, my missus bought me a retro Villa top for my birthday, and Villa went on a 10-game winning streak and got promoted. This year, for my birthday, she bought me another, and we're on a 7-game winning run. Can we get the FA Cup or Champions League? The only reason I bring this up is I like the idea of superstition, and if we've won 10 in a row last time, can we do the same again? That would mean from now beating PSG, Southampton, and PSG twice. So I'd absolutely take that. As a side point, I've seen a lot of people having a look at the fixture list of PSG, Southampton, PSG, Newcastle, and going, "Well, it'll be typical Villa to win all these except Southampton." Yeah, all right. I'd absolutely take that. That's what's being offered now. You'll beat PSG twice and Newcastle, but lose to Southampton. Fine. Yes, please. And lastly, the shirt you're wearing, are you wearing that for superstitious reasons or anything? You don't normally wear a Villa shirt.
No, Phil's missus bought it, mate, to be honest, just to... We've been hammering a credit card quite a lot of the classic football kits. And who doesn't think 2010-11, the year that we finished 9th under Gerard Houllier, was a classic?
That's retro now, 15 years.
It was a vintage year. I don't know, mate. Just found it in the wardrobe. I'm trying to lose a little. I've lost about half a pound, half a stone in the last couple of weeks. So I'm trying to find clothes, trying to get into clothes that might fit me again.
Nice.
But yeah, there's nothing superstitious about it. Prize where it lies. Somebody's tweeted me. Noticed on the way back from the game saying, "Because I missed. Did somebody nail the bullseye today? Did the first one nail the bullseye?"
Yeah, just about.
And he said that that Russ, who does the announcing and stuff, didn't know what prize it was. Do we know what prize the bullseye gets you?
What, did somebody get it a few weeks ago? And then there was somebody on Facebook maybe who said, was it not a trip to Bodymore or something?
Oh, was it something money can't buy? Was it that
Yeah,
one?
it's like a money can't buy experience. Yeah, so I reckon it was a trip to Bodymore to meet the players or something. Especially if it's kids.
Yeah, because the other thing I was going to say, there's a couple of kids who didn't quite have the legs. Well, the ball didn't have the legs; they had the legs. Be a very different game. The shots weren't strong enough to get to the thing. So you get your ground staff who boot it onto the disc for them.
Yeah,
I'd get some of them ground staff in the team because they always get it on the Pride rewards. They never get it on anything more expensive, like a speedboat or whatever else is on offer. So if you want somebody who can, precise passing, get one of your ground staff in.
I mean, they might, depending on how the first leg against PSG goes, they might play against Southampton.
Well, they could do actually. And as a nice segue, I've interviewed PSG's groundsman ahead of the match. He used to be at Villa, was poached by PSG many years ago. So
is he the guy that lives by my mum and dad? Not to share our location, but is that the same one?
The PSG groundsman lives by your mum and dad. Where do they live?
Not now, I assume, but I'm sure. Obviously, it's not the same one because otherwise you'd know. I'm sure there's a Villa groundsman, whether he's still there or not now. I think he lives on my mum and dad's street. Don't know if it's the same one.
I'm not sure, mate. I don't know how much it is to cost to catch the Eurostar each day with your forks.
Presumably, he leaves his forks there.
I don't think so, mate. I think he. I'm not going to give away. I think he's still got a home in this country, so I'm not going to give away his exact location. But I don't think it's that one.
Okay, all right, fine. That'll do us for this episode of the Clan Blue Podcast post-match reaction. Thank you, Matt, for joining me on this one. And thanks, everyone who watched along live. 700 people at 10 o'clock on Saturday evening. So thank you very much for tuning in. Plenty of other Villa podcasts out there, so thanks for choosing ours. If you're watching on Catch Up, you can scroll down to the YouTube comments and share your thoughts there and leave your questions for the Q&A as well. That'll be produced and should be uploaded Monday as well. If you're listening, you can leave comments on Spotify or a review on Apple Podcasts. Not sure about any other services. And yeah, we'll see you on Monday for a Q&A, Tuesday PSG preview, and Wednesday post-match for PSG. That's you and me again, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of you on this show in the next couple of days.
There is, mate. Get Phil's missus to get me some new tops. I'm probably squeeze into an XL now.
All right, thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Clan Blue Podcast, and we'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.